I came to Nebraska because I was recruited for the track and field team, and I took a visit out here. And I just thought Nebraska had so many resources for me, and plus the people were super nice here. So I thought it was a good fit for me. Yeah, my 2 cousins have autism, and so I grew up around them and working with them in different activities and sports and stuff like that. And so they're my 2 favorite people in the world, and I knew I wanted to work with people like them. I grew up in sport and working with people with disabilities, and I did that in New Jersey for years. And so when I came to Nebraska, I knew I wanted to do something super similar, and there was no program like it here. And so I decided to just start my own. Stacy Burling in athletics, and then Cindy Brunken from LPS were the 2 women that I worked close with to get this going. And both of them helped in aspects of reaching out to people in the Lincoln community and also reaching out to student athletes and getting the facility that we need. And then also what would the event look like? So we decided on 4 events. They just rotate through that and work one-on-one with student athletes. And we thought that was the best fit. They just built such a strong relationship in the first few weeks that they'd come in and know the student athletes by name and want to work with them. And so that was so great to see that there was such a relationship. And the student athletes were excited to see the kids. When I initially presented the idea to Stacy, I wanted it to be all sports because that's how the program worked in New Jersey that I volunteered at. But we started with track because that's what I'm in. And so, yeah, it went so successfully that it expanded to soccer because the soccer athletes are so involved in volunteering, and I hope that it'll expand even more. I was just hoping to give people with special needs an opportunity through track because I'm passionate about that. And so I want to give, kids with special needs an opportunity to be active and come here to the Nebraska facilities. And it really just turned into a bunch of really strong bonds between the student athlete and the person with disability from LPS. And now it's even turned into some of these student athletes going into careers in special needs. And I never thought that'd be imaginable, but it warms my heart that they've had such a good experience here at the camps that they now want it to be their future.
I was listening to a Husker podcast, and I was listening to Jenna talking about her summer camps that she had started for kids with disabilities within the community with track. And I was thinking about how amazing that was. And it was right as I was coming back to Nebraska. So I was a student athlete here, and I was coming back to be an assistant professor. And I thought, how cool would it be to kind of blend my 2 worlds? I went off professionally. Now I'm back in Nebraska, and I can connect it to something that's so personal to me with sport. So I reached out to Jenna to kind of hear a little bit more about her camps and brainstormed with her ways that we could turn it into a research project to see how we could better impact and have a broader impact on more kids with disabilities and student athletes as well.
We had a meeting and she talked about what research looks like here at Nebraska, what it would look like as her and my mentor.
So Husker Heroes is an event where I want to say the Lincoln and Omaha community, but people come from hours away who have children with disabilities, from the itty bitties all the way up to adults. Come to have like a field day with student athletes. We reflected together of having the mutual experience of Husker Heroes and thought that would be a really good event to be able to see not only how the event was experienced through the families and people with disabilities, but also the student athletes. With that project, it really highlighted the importance of building community with people with disabilities along with other institutions such as college athletics.
I think mainly because our research dealt with people with special needs in sport, that we can continue to make sure that events like Husker Heroes and Everybody Plays can be, keep getting better, especially with student athletes and people with disabilities. We can curate the best possible environment for them.
Hopefully from here, we can really gear up what Nebraska is doing here with our events like Husker Heroes to see it disseminated across the country as well.
I'm just passionate about everything I do. And if I'm not passionate about it, I won't do it. And that's just what I go by. And so all these things I'm involved in, research, working with people with special needs, creating camps like that, the school track, I'm all super passionate about it. So it's not a crazy amount of work for me. It's just a lot of fun.
Jenna's a phenomenal young woman. And when I listened to her on the podcast, I thought I really wanted to get to know her a little bit better. Truthfully, I saw a lot of myself in her as well, of seeing she's so committed to her sport, but more importantly, she is really committed to her future and the impact that she can have on others.
My goal has always been to create higher education for people with special needs. I think if we give them a resource that can lead them to high-paying jobs, then it's just totally possible. And so I want to create that college-like environment for people with special needs to get the education they need for for high paying jobs, and so they can live on their own or get a livable wage. And so that's the ultimate goal at the end.
Jenna is a really, really special person. She's going to go on to impact a lot of young children's lives, but also I know it's going to trickle through to help the families and parents and caretakers of individuals down the road as well.